Hi guys, George here, and I'm going to bring to you an after-action report uh, regarding HazMo 11, the Beleaguered Capital. It's a game that I played solo, and as you can see, I'm using the Sasso letter chits to determine where ultimately the Republicans will set up. And from this perspective, I'm going to play the Nationalist. Now, I gotta get confused between Republican and Nationalist. Uh, After all is said and done, it would have been much more clear to me if the Republicans were outright communist and the nationalists were outright fascist. Let's put it this way. Um, the nationalists were allied with the fascist Germans, or the Nazi Germans, and the fascist Italians. And the Republicans were outright being supported by the then communist Soviet Union. Um, as I was playing this, I was getting a little bit confused, but nothing can tweak your memory better than the type of armor that is being played out here. So you have the Soviet T-26, and then you have a German Panzer there. And the important thing here is that these Soviet tanks have to use platoon movement because they don't have any radios. These fellows don't, and they have two chances uh, to they have two kill dice rolls once they get a hit, which is what makes them deadly. And at close range with penetration, then they are something to worry for the communist player. So ultimately, as I was playing the nationalist, I did not know exactly where these fellows would end up. These fellows. Let me turn off uh, my my video capture, and here you see the Republicans, sorry, communists, and I've divided them into groups, and basically I would draw a chit here, and if it's a chit that is not uh, assigned a letter, I would expend the dummy counters, and ultimately, as the nationalist player, actually as a nationalist player, um, I would I wouldn't know exactly where where each group would show up until I actually encountered them. Um, yeah, and as for the fortified building, I would put it up only if it made a difference on the IFT or the to kill. So here I am back again. Let's go through the log and we'll see what happens. Okay, let's see. All right, so here we go. And notice the chit counters are in locations uh, where the Republican player, the communist player, let's face it, Franco was a fascist that ultimately didn't go to war and help his ally Hitler and Mussolini. Um, so where was I going with that? Uh, Ultimately, as the nationalist player, I would not know where everybody would pop up. Number one. Number two, if you're not aware of the victory conditions, please take a look at my first video where I went over the scenario. It's basically we need to expel the Republicans from this road here. And my approach was, as the nationalist, is uh, I would infiltrate the village using this path here from the woods. And at the same token, I would set up some powerful killer stacks here and uh, try to establish a fire uh, a fire group, good fire groups on the northern side of the village to avoid any routes in this location. So basically, I would be trying to force everyone towards the south edge of the map where the nearest route locations are as far away from the victory objective as possible. That was uh, my strategy. Was it the optimal strategy? I don't think so. I think it can be played better, but ultimately it was lots of fun. So let's go through the logs. I have 2 logs and see what happens. So here we are uh, setting up my troops because the nationalists are going first. And here are my 2 fire groups, or 2 axes of attacks where I'm going to attack. And as for the panzers, they're coming in one at a time, 1 per each turn. And I just rolled for weather, and there's nothing there, as usually happens. And let's go on. Um, drew. I declared my first fire here, and I drew a chit, which was ultimately a dummy, but I still have to roll to see what the IFD would happen, because I did call for fire. And ultimately that dummy is expended, and I drew Chit FF. He's gone. So that position is vacant for all intents and purposes. All right, let's go. Now we're drawing another fire. We don't know who is going to be there. And that is a Snake Eyes and an Allied and Axis Sand. Let's see what happens here. Wow, 1 MC plus right. I didn't expect that. But there's nobody there. Here we have 1 hindrance. We're firing again. And it's an LMG, so he can swing his covered arc around. That's pretty good. 2 up 2. A 2 up 2 attack. Now we advance the movement, and our panzer's coming in. So 1/2 squad decided to go out there, and we drew Chip D, which was a fire group consisting of a green unit with an LMG. Now we're going to a first fire on that unit. Wow, a 4. And he passed the morale check. We put in the residual counter and can. No, actually he did or he didn't. What happened there? He broke? Oh, yes, he did. Rolled a 10. That's pretty nasty. Now, at this rate, we are trying to get some Republican forces on the board because the Nationalists are attacking. And now I've drew all the dummy stacks out of the stack that is supposed to be deployed on the board. So from now on, I am going to pick a letter or nothing at all. All right, and I'm using the letter chits to randomly put uh, the initial uh, Republican forces on the board. Let's go here. All right, let's continue with the log. Um, so we drew another squad with a LMG there to attack the nationalist forces that are advancing onto the village. We drew a 1 morale check. I think we broke someone, and we see a clear way to advance into the village using terrain to the best of our advantage as possible. So that's what we're going to do. And we ultimately determined that this is one of the best places to put a fortified hex. The other one is in T6. The other one is in T6, and that would make it very difficult for the nationalists to expel a Republican from there. So we drew another squad there. It's our defensive fire phase. We want to inflict some damage on the Republicans to thwart their attack. Whoa, we just drew boxcars there. Yeah. We drew boxcars on the leader's morale check, and ultimately he ended up wounded but not eliminated. I was supposed to turn off that circle jiggle jiggle, but it pops up when I have to get rid of it. I'm getting annoyed by it as well. Every time that you click that circle, it does jiggle the board. Now it's okay if you're doing it to bother Stu once in a while, but then it ultimately has an effect on you as well, I suppose. When the board gets uncentered when you don't want it to get it uncentered, especially when you're dealing with a small map like this, that's all right. And ultimately, you want to play a game as if you're playing it on a board, and you wouldn't jiggle your board around to grab your opponent's attention, would you? Now, you want to keep everything stable and just call out the hex coordinate. And now this is the advanced phase. Let's see. Yep, there you go, advanced phase. Turn one. And I wouldn't say we made great progress because ultimately in the counter attack, here we have a broken MMG, we have a broken squad, uh, we have quite a few broken squads on the nationalist side and a wounded leader that got wounded ultimately on a morale check. So right off the bat, I think the first blood was drawn by the Republicans, and it inflicted not a lot of damage, but substantial or important enough damage um, to get the Republican player thinking. Ultimately, the Republican player and the Nationalist player was me, myself, and I, but still, the course of events are not going well for the attacker. We're trying to roll for weather and then trying to rally here and there. Not so successful. The units come off. And on to turn one Allied uh, Republicans. And we're just firing to get everybody DM'd again, but we did score a morale check here. And we're picking on that flank. Look at that, 5 on the IFT. Roll a morale check. That guy's reduced. Broken. ELR'd. Yeah, not reduced. And we're trying to draw units now on the board because we need some nationalists to start attacking the attackers. We need some Republicans to attack the attackers. Okay, communist, fascist. Guys, in your revision of HazMo 2, if you ever plan a revision, Republicans become communist. The nationalists become fascist. No political correctness, please. You have enough of that already. Whoa! We have a MILF tank right there. Yeah. Oh, God. Now we're trying to put units on the board. It's going to entail a lot of chip drawing until I get most or all of my forces up there. And at the last couple, at this point I'm saying, all right, let's draw all the chits that we can and put the Republicans on the board, the communists, and give everybody something to think about. So this is what we're doing by the end of turn 1, because at least quite a few units revealed themselves to situate the Republicans in a good position, and now we need the firepower to thwart the fascists. So here we are routing. Uh, going for concealment gain, and on to turn 2. And here I am again. I'm confused between Axis and Allied. It should be, yeah, the Axis. The Axis. The Republicans go. The Nationalists go first. The Fascists go first here. There you go. Fascists. Look at the symbols. Here's our attempts to rally, rather futile. And here's another boxcars. Here's the first casualty due to a rally attempt that ends up with a 12. And I think he was already half squad. Let's see. He wasn't. Oh, there he was. There were two. He was already a half squad. It broke. Here comes tank number 2. And right here, you have to remember that there was supposed to be a secret bog check here because this is mud. So you'll note that all the AFEs, I keep them on the paved road to avoid a bog check in the mud. It's part of the scenario special rules. Fast checks, prep fires. Look at that killer stack. You got 16 firepower, right? All they score is a task check on these boys. I can't believe I'm still firing instead of moving. There we go. So he ended up being immobilized. Yeah. Actually, yeah, immobilized because the LMGs can attack the tank. So that's why I was rolling 2 hit and 2 kills. And with penetration and whatnot, I believe I rolled exactly what I needed to kill a guy on a hull hit, immobilized him. Whoa, I don't want to lost check. There you go. So here comes the second tank. And the second tank is not going to make the same mistake as his previous colleague. And here we are. Let's make the board a little bit bigger. And let's turn off my video camera so you can see all the action here. Let's do that. Here you go. Guys, we're making this video for your enjoyment, so here you go. Not to show off my fancy, handsome face, so here we go. Now it's the Republican turn 2 defensive fire phase, and we're firing back at the uh, at the uh, at the fascist. There you go. That was nothing. Now we're firing back. 6 up 3. Oh, that's a bad one. Morale check, and we have a couple of breaks and a couple of pins, but the leader made it. That's important. And now it's already rout phase. Yeah. Next is turn 2 rout phase. And now we advance. Now that mobilized tank acts like as protection for a gradual advance. Here we do concealment gain. And now it's Allied turn 2, rally phase. We're going to roll for weather. We rolled snakes, but ultimately does not result in wind change. Now we're going to try and rally those units there. Try to rally a unit here. Let's see what happens. Nope, nothing happens. Here, he does rally. What's he doing? Let's see what phase it is. Nothing yet. Let's see. It's prep fire phase, and we're saying we're going to prep fire adjacent, 12 up 1. That's a pity, only a PTC. And they're pinned. He prep fired. Now we're going to try and attack the stack with a 6 plus something. 6 up 2. 12. And we just damaged the LMG. It's movement. And we're taking up good positions. And now we got fascist defensive fire, and we managed to expel these units here. So apart from the AFV being immobilized, one half squad being broken, another breaking due to a morale check, and being eliminated due to a morale check, I would say that the fascist advance here is going pretty well. And so it is as well, but it's still very precarious because we only have 2 leaders, one of which is now wounded, and it's still, the fascists are still in a precarious situation because look below here, we got reinforcements coming in. There we go, another boxcars on the IFT. So we're on the Allied rout phase already. Turn 2. And the Allies rout first. A bit of advance. Concealment gain. Don't you love those free LOS checks? So what do we got here? Axis turn 3, rally phase. So our good friends, well, Franco's good friends. We're trying to repair, we repaired the LMG, we're trying to rally. This fellow doesn't want to get back into the fight. Here, I think that was a repair attempt, I'm not sure. But it doesn't look good, doesn't bode well. More rallies. Hey, this unit here rallied, I think. Let's see. Well, the DM comes off. And we have the 3rd tank coming in. Now, we're circling, we went straight to movement this time. No prep fire. And we're circling this Panzer around the bend to the rear to prevent any routes without interdiction. Why didn't I advance him straight up and close to the communist forces? Because tanks are vulnerable in close combat and with LMGs, right? So in ASL, a good MG attack can ultimately, if you don't have the right amount of armor factors, can ultimately lead to the destruction of your armored fighting vehicle. Ha ha. Reminds me of the attack on Kiev, guys. So much for the armor columns. And here we are, assault moving closer to the communist. Isn't that much more clear instead of nationalist and Republican, communist versus fascist? That's what the Spanish Civil War was about. Let's not dilute it. Look, I hope the folks in HazMo can appreciate some constructive criticism. But look, let's not confuse matters here. And here we are now in a head-to-head slugfest on the northern side of the village. These guys are penetrating, but they're somehow that leader did not stay at the lead of this attack. And that's really a tactical error. As a 9-1 leader, you need to have that leader spearheading the attack, not in the rear. And as much as possible, you want to advance concealed and kind of jimmy your forces into the cracks into the enemy cracks in their lines and try to unravel that defense. I'm not too sure if it's an after-action report or tips and tactics, but anywho. So you see the communist defensive fire here, kind of ineffective, I would say. Now here we are. He already first fired, and we're bringing that tank right through those lines, keeping him in motion. Double checking my movement points because there is mud in the, so I'm just going through the motions of making sure I did not expend more movement points than I had to. Here we have now some fire. It's probably final fire that we're going through. And the communists managed to break one of the best leaders here. Well, not one of the best leaders, but the best fire group, I would say, that the communists had in blocking the advance from the northern edge of the village. So ultimately, I have to question whether it was the best course of action to set them up here, or maybe they should have advanced through this axis here, right up closer to the action and try to expel these boys from there. Here we are, more fire now, advancing fire. That was sniper bait. More advancing fire. Which is what I should have done from the first turn. Forget prep fire, move, advanced fire, and defensive fire. So advanced fire and defensive fire should be more than enough opportunities to score some hits on and morale checks on your adversary. So here we get our first. That was a mistake on my part. There is no opportunity to take prisoners there because both sides are broken. And if both sides are broken, I think the only unit that cannot stay adjacent in this scenario would be the fascist, because the communists still have a good order leader and a good order squad there. Yeah, so I kind of reconsidered that one. Put the sniper counters away, the prisoner counters away, and just routed one stack here and advanced more units here, and these units are going to go under the tank and keep cover under the tank. Alright, let's go on. Where are we at now? Turn 3, advanced phase, Axis advanced phase. Here we go. We're advancing, and we've made considerable gains right here. And now, finally, the leader the best leader, is approaching the village here and just cracking the communist forces into two groups, one grouping here and one grouping there, and the whole crux of this strategy is this these groups this group of soldiers clears this side of the road, and while the tanks and the killer stocks here clear the units from this side of the village, while all along splitting the communist forces into two. But the whole game changer, are I guess, is these reinforcements that are bound to come in on turn 3. All right, so let's see how this plays out. Let's center the board a bit. Oops, go back there, and let's center it and continue with the log. So here I am setting up the units to come in, I guess, in two groups. I'm not sure why I'd like to split my forces, but I'm arranging everything here. Actually, 3 groups. Check that out. But as you can see, the Russian tanks are using platoon movement, trying to rally here. I'm getting all sorts of bad rolls, as you can see. I don't think anybody rallied in this case. At least I avoided boxcars. Here's my prep fire phase. And I'm trying to blow that tank up, but it didn't work. Ultimately I got pinned. And we're trying to, the fascists here are trying to knock out Sanchez, but Sanchez stood up to the fire. There's more units moving up. And here we have some fire. Mandira is firing Rodriguez. Guys, there's no representation of actual people here. They're all fictional names. Managed to pin and break a couple of guys. That's why this leader, with a -1 DRM, was supposed to be spearheading the attack. See, that's the consequences of an 8-up-1 attack. Ultimately, it was a +1 hindrance, +2 TEM for being in the wooden building, -1 leadership DRM, and -1 for first fire, not assault movement. Did I do the math right? Yeah, I did. 8-up-1. And it was a good roll as well. A 4. Well, 4 or 5 on the 8 table. 2 MC. Here come the tanks. And they stay in motion. Look how much headway they've done, and what would be the benefit of putting them crew exposed? How far could they get before they ended up having to encounter these guys and incur some attempts to hit them in the head, so to speak, hit the crew chief in the head. Let's go. Here I have more DMs. More fire against the communist forces. Or another snake eyes on the I-15 and a sniper check. I think ultimately we may have forgotten to check for the sniper. That was a really nasty roll. But the communist, aka Republicans, survived it. Now we're pulling out some prisoners, because these boys, they can only low crawl to Q7 or P7, I suppose, where they would probably be interdicted, but since they broke adjacent to enemy units, and the only way they can avoid, uh, the only way they can rout is by low crawl, they ended up surrendering, which was a little bit of a miracle. Um, the dice gods didn't favor the communists in this case, and ultimately they ended up prisoner. And now we go into close combat there. The unit is pinned. My unit is green. We're rolling for ambush. Oh, there isn't any ambush. Oh, there is. There was. Anyway, let's see what happens here. Oh, that was a task check to enter into close combat with the CMG. And ultimately I decided against this. This was a very bad idea. There's no way the leader can knock out the tank that's in motion because his CCV value is 2, and he would have to add 2 to his dice roll, -1 for leadership DRM. That was nonsense. So I think I ultimately put him back. We end up in melee there, and then I'm saying, thought that over, I think. Alright, so let's pause and load log 2. We're back with log 2. Just rolling for weather. What phase is it? It's already Axis turn 4. Trying to rally. Ain't gonna do it. You lose all the DM statuses. Trying to repair that LMG. It ain't happening. And that looks like a prep fire. 8 up 3. Yep, 8 up 3. Doesn't look like anything. And another 6 up 2. Because we're firing on a concealed unit. Snake Eyes. Yeah. Sand as well. Let's see if we forget the sand again. We just broke somebody. Yeah, we forgot the sand. There's a couple of sands. Here goes another morale check. There's another sand. Oh, this time we didn't forget about him. And he's activated. 3 and 1. Counting hexes. Boom. We put him there. I broke him. And there's some activation, but he doesn't pop up. Task check. Passes. Corporal Curious fires in close combat. The dude makes it. Here we go again. Trying task check. Street fighting. Another task check. Close combat doesn't make. Oh, we killed the guy somehow. Yeah, close combat was. Each unit was doing a close combat attack separately, and we got him on the second roll to 4. SAM activation, we didn't forget it. Here we are advancing again. But let's face it. So we had 3 tanks. We have 1 immobilized, the other one destroyed through street fighting, and 1 in the middle of the village with 6 firepower factors. And the communists already have a satchel charge that can really wreak havoc on the Panzer. And in terms of firepower, at this point, once the International Brigade entered into the picture, yeah, we do have a lot of broken squads, but on the same token, the fascists are in no position now to achieve their objective. So maybe this attack was not the right approach of splitting your forces into two groups and then putting your forces in the midst of the communists and forgetting about Mr. K here and Mr. J, because they're adjacent to the road hex, and they would probably negate a victory for the fascists. Here we are routing. Let's see what the situation looks like here. We're now axis turn 4 still. The clock is ticking. We add to the melee situation here. So now it's a 1-to-1 attack or a 2-to-1, depending on how you want to allocate your attack. First roll is a 3, second roll is a 6, and the communist got knocked out. Here, it's a pure 1-to-1 attack. 4-5-7 versus a 4-4-7. So everybody needs a 5 or less to get eliminated. And 3, 2, this is for ambush, no ambush. And we're in melee. So where are we at now? Allied rally phase, we rolled for weather. We're trying to repair a LMG, now we're trying to rally. Or repair another weapon, we repaired it, or we didn't. I'm not sure. Maybe I didn't have my coffee. I was tired. Alright. Finally, this fellow rallies. This fellow did not. His DM should come off, though. Alright, let's go. Trying to rally there. Didn't happen. Or did it? It did. DMs come off. So this stack is back in action again. This squad is holding prisoners, a half squad and a squad, which is over his unit size. So he is basically reduced to a guard. I should have deployed and taken the prisoners to at least have one half squad available to actually fire and be a productive member of the attack. Okay. Alright, here we're doing another sin, which is called prep fire. And we're probably doing a 12 up 2 attack. Up 3. Yeah, he's an 8-0 leader. Up 3. We only scored a PTC. And they passed the task check, I suppose. Let's take a look. Would he be going TI? I don't know. Alright. Then we're doing some movement. Now with Lieutenant Cordoba there. 16, 9 minus 1 leader. These guys are in a very precarious state. Yeah, that's the nail biter here. Or the victory clincher. Here we are scoring morale checks. The fascists are, that is, and this fire group has just been blasted. Now, see, so this little wedge in the communist forces is taking effect on getting the fascists closer to a victory situation. But time is running out. Time is running out quickly. So now we're engaged in a firefight rifles are blasting, LMGs are rolling, but the important aspect here is to expel the defender away from the victory location, and that's not happening anytime soon. There's more time needed to achieve that, and with the way the communists are set up here, um, it will be an arduous task for the fascists to win. Here we are routing, going to the fortified location. And what happened here was both sides eliminated each other. They eliminated each other in close combat. Well, serves me right for going to close combat in the first place. So a couple of things about close combat. Close combat is the riskiest way to try and eliminate your leader. Even if you achieve a situation where you advance into close combat in concealment, and you're trying to infiltrate your forces, um, it's just a pure um, probability that a KI will incur. Whereas if you're using the IFT, um, there's more moderate outcomes that can arise, like pin task checks and morale checks, as opposed to an outright KIA. So depending on the situation and a completely random outcome, this can arise where both units, both the attacker and the defender, can eliminate each other, and you want to preserve your OB as much as possible to obtain your your objective. So you really need to think twice before you enter in close combat. I think that's the major takeaway there. Number one, and number two, if you want to eliminate your enemy, the best way to eliminate your enemy is by denying him a venue to rout. I think that's what everybody has to keep in the back of their mind when they're playing squad leader. Denying your enemy venue to rout, a route the ability to rout is the surefire way to get rid of them, eliminate them safely. Yeah. So where are we at now? We're rolling for weather, and it's the top of turn 5. Time is running out for the attacker. Rally, repair. Here we are. Oh, we just got rid of a support weapon. What choice do we have? And we got rid of DMs, but they're still far from rallied. And here, again, no rallies. We're attacking there. Um, we should have used this opportunity to hop into the village, but live and learn. We're trying to get rid of these boys, and it ain't happening, not with these dice rolls. What are we doing there? 4 up 1? 6 up 3, and we scored a PTC. Now we're moving up reinforcements. And this is Axis, defensive fire for the communists. And as you can see, the last roll was an 11, which is not good. Did we forget to mouth the MMG? I think we did. I'm not sure why that TI counter is popping up. Advanced phase. So all I could say here is, oh wow, look at that. Cordoba is being surrounded. But what good is it doing that he is being surrounded? We're trying to expel these jokers out of here. But look what we have here. Now, had the other two tanks been in good order, and they were able to make it around the village to attack these fellows, the game would have been a bit different. We're trying to rally everybody. I don't think we're being too successful, so let's just take a look. Oh, yeah, we are. We're not that bad. So, again, now the luck element is favoring the communists. I feel so much better when I call folks after their more appropriate titles. Here we are again, prep firing. But I don't think we're selecting our targets appropriately here. He prep fired. This guy's pinned. Big deal. He prep fired there. Pretty ineffectively. And we're prep firing here. And now we're moving. And we're moving in such a way that we're giving the fascist forces something to worry about. Here come the column of tanks. Guys, don't even hold your breath in anticipation of what's going to happen. We're trying to position our turret in the right place to hit, to kill. We ended up being shocked. We're firing with the LMGs, guys. Hindrance. It's only a hindrance. We have clear LOS. And why did we split up our attack instead of making a fire group? Again, we only rolled a task check result. And they all passed. Oh, we finally scored a couple of morale checks here. Wow, yeah, we did roll pretty low. 3 on the IFT. Wow. To hit 7. This tank is shocked, which is a bummer. The lead tank shocked. This guy milfed his weapon with an 11. Great. So 2 out of 3 tanks are out of the action right now. Almost suffering the same fate as the Axis tanks. How chaotic can you get, man? Check it out. Communists are going in the attack. But at the same token, these 2 fire groups here, the killer stacks are not as in good shape as they were before. Holy rally! Lieutenant Cordoba is back in action. Jackson and these guys are back into the action as well. And one guy ends up being berserk. Taking off all the DMs. This guy looks like he's about to get eliminated. Shock ain't going well for him. Well, now did they fire group? IFT 11. There we go again. There we go. Trying a 2-kill, ain't happening. He milfs his main armament as well. Terrible stuff. Here we are with Martinez going around the bend. Ain't that a song? And we threw a satchel charge on Cordoba. That's a nice way to eliminate him. Let's see what happens. And that juggernaut in the middle of the board seems to be effective, except look at this defensive line right here. Look at that, right? Never mind the put tanks here, but how can you really effectively expel these units from here? I don't know. I don't know. And I wish this attack was better coordinated. Certainly, if we did everything we could to avoid immobilization here, it could have been a game changer. If we had avoided uh, being annihilated here in street fighting, that would have been good as well. Focused more on movement rather than fire. Oh, we thwarted the DC attack. He did not survive. The DC thrower did not survive uh, in good order the communist uh, defensive fire phase. Here we are attacking again. Indira, Martinez. What is he trying to do? Try to resuscitate, pull a Lazarus on that broken unit? Route those broken units away from you. Uh, Make them, eliminate them from failure to route, but don't fire on them to resuscitate them. Call that the Lazarus effect. For those of you that are biblical. So this guy basically eliminated himself, rolled a 5 on the second shock uh, event. That tank is still milfed. We're trying to rally, we can't. We're rolling 11s. Here we roll a 7. What do we need? We needed a 7. Is he up and up? Did I catch that? Yeah, I did. I'm not that bad. Ally turn 6 prep fire phase. Ho ho, look at that shot. See how we calculated that shot. That was a 30 up 2. So let's see if we calculated correctly. We got 16. So it's a 32, goes down to the 30 column, up 2. -1 leadership, +3 for a stolen building. Let's see what that ended up being. So we rolled this 8, 9 on the IFT. Anything over a 7. It's a 2MC just the same. So there we go. 1 unit broke. The other squad is pretty good. Sanchez is firing there. 12. That's a good roll. I'm being sarcastic, of course. He doesn't have any support weapons anymore. They all broke. They are cowarding. So we have all sorts of units adjacent and contiguous on the victory location hexes. And at this point, we can safely say game over for the fascist. I know you're going to tell me that I'm biased. It's fine. You know, we can never remove all of our biases. And you really have to keep your bias in check when you're playing solo. But sometimes when you're playing solo and you're patiently looking at the rule book and making sure that you're doing everything correctly and as per the special rules, you'll end up learning a lot. You'll end up as well finding certain strategies that you probably would learn before playing a live opponent. And then, balance your play between solo to face, and uh, pretty certain that your gameplay will improve. And if there's a ratio between solo and face to face that I would recommend, I would say 2 games, at least 2 or 3 games face to face with a live opponent versus 1 solo. And I'm pretty confident that at this point I said, let's give it up because we just blew up the another Nationalist tank, the only one that was mobile and we could uh, use to thwart this fire group. It's gone. And did I make mistakes? Most likely. Most likely. And yep, this is the end of the log. I just heard the music. It's great. It was great fun. Great fun playing it against a live opponent. Great fun playing it solo. It's very satisfying to play this scenario, really, honestly. Um, how you've named the two factions really, it doesn't really bother me that much. But for my own purposes, yeah, Republicans for me are communists and nationalists are fascists. Sorry. Very strong terminology, but strong terminology leads to less confusion for me. That's my personal take on it. You might feel otherwise, and I can respect that. But ultimately, it's a fun scenario. Having played it solo, having done the AR, let's turn back that video camera. Having played it solo, having played it with a live opponent, and doing the AR, I'm not tired of playing this scenario. I want to play it again because look at that action. Look at that mayhem. It's remarkable. It's not a one-sided scenario. It is a scenario that leaves you hanging and wanting for more. More of what? More fun, more action. That's what it's supposed to be about. So, long story short, this is a well-designed scenario. Is it one of my favorite themes? Hell no. Hell no. Spanish Civil War? Yeah, I mean, apart from a couple of Ernest Hemingway novels and here and there, I really wasn't into any of the Civil Wars, either the ones before or after the Second World War. But let's face it, one was a continuation of the other. And this is about a battle that took place in the beleaguered capital, Boadilla del Monte. Um, but the theme aside, in terms of combat, in terms of um, action, mayhem, chaos, adverse and twists in events, this scenario plays well and plays well. I wasn't able to achieve victory conditions as the nationalist, but I'm sure other people, other players have. And I'm more than eager and willing to learn and listen to other AARs. But this is it. And I can't believe I recorded an hour's worth of video, but it's all worthwhile. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you to my ongoing subscribers and new subscribers. I've met one personally that subscribed right there and there when he saw me clipping counters. Now, the way I process counters is I punch and clip at the same time. Don't ask me how I'll do that. Maybe I'll do a video on that one day. And he asked me, "What is this?" And my kids told him as well. My children, they're not kids anymore. My children told him that this is what my dad does. That's his hobby. And well, I like Squad Leader, he tells me. And so Anthony, shout out to Anthony. He subscribed to the channel right on the spot. That was great. That was really awesome. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you to my ongoing subscribers and the new subscribers. Take care, guys. Stay safe. And I hope to see you soon with another interesting video and an after action report. Take care. Bye.